Okay, so Module 2C, developing your credibility as a leader. Now, there's lots of presentations and thoughts I'm going to give, but if there's a rank order of importance, I'd put this one near the top. They're all obviously important, but I do think that this one really is the foundation of what makes great leadership. So here we go. The bottom line is you have to have credibility to be a leader, and it is the foundation of leadership. People have to believe in and respect the messenger to believe the message. So the people that work for you have to believe in you. Now, the question exists is, can you become a leader if you've come from a very low level and you've worked your way up through the pathway? Well, I believe you can. Obviously, from my personal point of view, I came from a teaching background into a national job, and it wasn't easy. It took a long time, but I'd like to share with you how I went about doing it, but more importantly, how you can go about improving your credibility as a leader, so that you can become at the top of your field. In life, people have to believe the messenger to believe the message. Credibility is the foundation of leadership. So what are the 4 characteristics that I would absolutely insist on in order for you to become a great leader? The first one is to be honest. There is there's no way that you can become a leader if you are dishonest or you do not tell the truth. So I think people might not accept your views all the time, but if you're honest all the time, then it leaves you with high credibility. Another way to develop your credibility is to be inspiring. It's to inspire people through the way in which you paint a vision for the future, the way you communicate, the way you lead them, the decisions that you make. So there's no doubt that to be a leader, you have to have some inspirational quality, whether it be your ability to move people with the way you speak or just simply your presence and your actions. The third quality of developing your credibility is by being forward-thinking and planning. I've worked with some great coaches in the past who will be very good on the day-to-day stuff, but would never really plan the bigger picture or give us a sense of direction about where the end point's going to be and a goal to achieve. And I would always start with that in terms of leading people, thinking ahead to the future, thinking what the future can look like, and inspiring people to achieve that goal. And the fourth, but not least, is technical excellence. So clearly you will lose credibility in the eyes of the people that follow you if you do not know your subject area, the area that you're leading in. So technical excellence, but more importantly, clarity on your philosophy. So there's lots of different ways to play a rugby game. There's lots of different ways to try and win games. And I think there's no right or wrong way, but ultimately you need clarity in what you believe in as a coach, and transmit that through to your players in a rugby context or your employees in a working context. So what do credible leaders possess? They practice what they preach. Their actions are consistent with their words. They keep their promises. The most frequent response of qualities people admire in leaders is, and this is the gold dust in the leadership pathway, is they do what they say they are going to do. Time and time again, I've worked with people who promise they're going to do something and then don't do it. It doesn't matter whether it's something small like I'm going to return your email or I'll get back to you on the phone, or something large where I promise I'll give you an enhanced role in the organisation and you don't. It's all those little things that add up, and equally it works on the positive sense. If you say you're going to do something and you consistently do it, people will trust you and your credibility will grow. And this is backed up in this comment here. Every promise you break, no matter how small and seemingly inconsequential, steady chips away at your character. Each time you don't return a phone call or miss a meeting you promised to attend, you erode trust. Every time you avoid doing a right, you fuel the habit of doing a wrong. I mean, it's a brilliant quote, isn't it? And it's absolutely the fundamental part of developing your credibility. There's another aspect to developing your credibility that's not really articulated in any book that I've read on leadership, but it is something that that exists in my mind, and it's this concept of a 100-point scale. So let me explain it, and then I'll talk you through this particular slide. So if you imagine on a scale of 0 to 100 on a vertical axis, 0 is you have no credibility, and 100 is you are the most credible person in your organisation. Everyone enters this scale on the vertical axis at a different point, depending on your track record of excellence, your history, your education, your experiences, and taking me as an example, I'm pretty certain I entered the credibility in terms of becoming a national coach at a very low number. Let's call it 10 or 20. Certainly coming out of teaching. Now, there is no way I'm going to get to 80 on the credibility scale straight away. I didn't have a track record of excellence in winning titles, and I didn't play at the highest level either. But my belief is that if you enter at 20 and you do something well, then you'll add points. You might be on 21 or 22, and you'll do something well again. You'll have a good meeting, or you'll prepare well for a conference you're going to, and you'll articulate your vision well to a group. You'll gain more points. Now, obviously, no one goes along accumulating points and not making mistakes, but the trick is obviously to accumulate more points than losing points. So you might lose a couple along the way because you've inexperience or you've made a poor decision, but gradually you'll gain points and gain points and gain points, and your credibility will grow from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60. And when the big jobs come along and the big opportunities come along, at that point, you're ready to make the step and people trust in you because you've accumulated enough points. Now, it takes a long time. For me, when I think back to my career, I started my coaching courses around about 25, 26, 27 years old. I did my level 5 course at 32. I became the academy manager at 30, and then became the director of rugby at 35. Joined England at 37 and became the interim coach at 41. So we're talking years, not days or weeks. So, but I want you to think about your entry point on this credibility scale. Think about are you gaining or losing points, and also think about how you can strive to achieve maximum points by doing things well on a daily basis, and improving your credibility in the eyes of the people that you're leading. The final point is, what happens when we run out of points? Well, it's happened. It's happened in teams I've been involved in, where a coach has come in or a leader's come in with high credibility because of their previous track record. And everyone is always looking to see how they're going to react in their environment, what they're going to teach them, are they going to help me get better as a player? And unfortunately, perhaps they achieve the cups and the trophies on the back of maybe good players, because you can see them gradually losing points. They're losing belief in the team's losing belief in the manager, and it gets to a point where perhaps they were on 70 when they started, but through consistently poor meetings, poor relationships, poor decision making, poor handling of difficult situations, they're down to 20, and ultimately that's when the players ultimately stop playing for the coach, and the old classic "he's lost the dressing room" comment comes in, and that's the way it is for me. It's as simple as that. And certainly a massive way to gain points is to do what you say you're going to do, and I want you to remember that one, because that's one of the key ones. And this quote here backs up pretty much what I've been saying. People are watching you, looking to see what is acceptable behaviour and what isn't. So be the ideal of what you want your people to be. In order to improve as a leader, awareness precedes change. Gather feedback. Most ineffectiveness comes from leaders who do not have the self-discipline to know what they should do. So in order to improve your credibility, you need feedback, as the areas where you're weak and the areas where you're strong, and obviously build on the strengths and work on the weaknesses. I think if you do that, then you'll gain more points than you lose. Are we gaining or losing points, and how do we improve on that scale of 0 to 100? Very quickly, know your game, know yourself. So self-awareness, we've talked about that before. Progress, great self-belief. Clarify your values. To stand up for your beliefs, you have to know what to stand up for, and find your voice. In brackets, there means don't be afraid to say what you feel, but you can only feel something if you've thought about what you believe in, and then you can have a position whether you agree or disagree with a certain point of view. Be a great relationship builder. Do what you say you will do, which we've talked about before. Deal with the difficult issues. Be assertive without being aggressive. Integrity at all times. This is your coaching passport. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't think a cheap win by manipulating the rules is going to give you long-term success. It might give you a short-term win, but I'm not sure it'll give you long-term success. Pint glass half full, we've talked about before. It's never about you, it's about other people. So if you're working hard to develop other people, your credibility will increase in the eyes of the people that you're leading. Players will work, or people will work harder for coaches they like, and we like them in direct proportion to how you make us feel, to how they make us feel. So, if you go back to your school days and think about the teacher that inspired you the most, it probably wasn't anything technical that they taught you on the subject area. It was more how you made you feel. You connected with them, you felt inspired by them, you felt motivated to work hard for them, and you felt good about yourself when you spent time in their company. And that's what the great teachers do and the great leaders. And the final point, obviously, is to show you care, because you show you care with people, then it'll come back in spades, that people will respond accordingly, and your credibility will grow. So can we build our credibility and learn and improve? Yes, is the obvious answer. So just looking at this slide, the real areas to improve your credibility are to watch role models. So I would always be going out there to look at other coaches and look at other leaders and think about, are they a credible leader? Why are they a credible leader? Why are they losing credibility? So it's not always the positive stuff you learn from role models. Sometimes it's the negative stuff about what not to do. Read, obviously, about great leaders. I've got books everywhere. In fact, I'm going to take some photos of them a little bit later on in the modules and stick them on, so you can have a look and see what books I read and which ones I would rank in my top 10. Reflect, obviously, on your own point scoring system. Are you gaining points or are you losing points? Find a mentor, someone who can support you and add value and debate leadership topics with you to help you make the right judgment call. Be a master of leadership. Know your values and principles, and ultimately build your self-confidence, because you've earned your right to have your point of view if you've done the work. So there's a lot in that, and we could talk about it forever, really. But I just wanted to give you an overview. It is a hugely important topic, and that left-hand axis, that vertical axis of building your credibility. Have a think about that and where you are and how you can gain points. And it might take years, beyond where you are now to have the credibility to get the next step on the ladder of where you want to get to. But trust me, if you do the right thing day in, day out, your rewards will come at the end.